the Natural Health Show with one of New England's leading natural health care specialists, Mark Mincola. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 on 95.9 WATD. He's waiting to hear from you.
Welcome home, Natural Health Nation. As always, wonderful to have you join us here on 95.9 WATD. It's our sincere wish that everyone is well, healthy, and happy, and enjoying a nice, peaceful, restful Sunday evening. We have a not so peaceful, restful topic for you this evening, but one I think is most important to discuss. You know, I deal with virtually thousands of people every year that have food intolerances, food allergies. And if there's anything I've noticed over the past several years in particular, and probably the past decade actually, that it seems that the numbers of people with food allergies and overall the degree of symptomatologies, the ever worsening of the condition and the various conditions, health-related conditions associated with food allergies have happened to be really climbing pretty dramatically. And I just happened to run into this interesting report in Science Daily, and it was recently posted December 3rd of this month. Dichlorphenol containing pesticides linked to food allergies, study finds. Chemical also used to chlorinate tap water. And the article goes on. Food allergies are on the rise, affecting millions. According to a new study published in the December issue of the Annals of Allergy, Asthma, Immunology, the Scientific Journal of the American College of Allergy, Asthma, Immunology, dichlorphenols containing pesticides could be a major blame for food allergies. The study reported that high levels of dichlorphenols, a chemical used in pesticides, and to chlorinate tap water, was found in the human body, often found in the human body associated with food allergies. They go on to say that according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that since 1997, I should say between 97 and 2007, there was found an 18% increase in food allergies. The most common food allergens, of course, are milk, eggs, peanuts, wheat, nuts, soy, fish, and shellfish. But now what we're finding is that the dichlorphenols in our tap water are being blamed by experts for an 18% increase in food allergies per decade. 18% per decade. So between 97 and 2007, a near 20% increase in food allergies. So one of the reasons, I guess, that, and this is, by the way, quite an extensive validation of this point, but one of the reasons it seems that our food allergies are skyrocketing out of control is because of our water. Perhaps not surprising to many. This particular study took 10,348 participants into account and examined their food allergies and their consumption of dichlorphenols between the years of 2005 and 2006, just 1 year. And there was another additional 2,200 subjects that were actually added to this study as well. But food allergies were found in significant numbers of these particular participants. And many also had environmental allergies as well. So it would appear from this particular study, again found on December 3rd of 2012, that dichlorphenols are weakening immunity to the extent that our digestive tracts are being affected. So, you know, people tend not to think of digestion and food allergies as being immune-related. That is absolutely inaccurate. It is directly correlated with immunity. So this particular research shows that high levels of dichlorphenol containing pesticides weakens the digestive immunity in many people, causing the food allergies and intensifying them for others. So in this particular study, those who did not have severely high food allergies at one time early on developed a worsening condition associated with food allergies as a direct result of the dichlorophenols. Now, a lot of people would say, well, look, we don't drink the tap water, we're okay. What I found out a number of years ago, unfortunately, is that because of the permeability of our tissue, permeability of our skin, every minute in the shower, every minute in the pool in the summertime, every minute in the bathtub equals 1 ounce of consumed tap water. Every minute, 1 ounce. So if you take a 10-minute shower in the morning, 15-minute shower, you drank 10 to 15 ounces of tap water, the equivalent, because of the permeability of your tissues. Also, a lot of folks, of course, go out for coffees and teas. They may stop at a lot of the Starbucks and places like that in the morning for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. And you're getting tap water. So you're still absorbing tap water between your showering and between whatever ancillary consumption of water that you're taking in. But again, according to this study, you're not just taking water. You're taking dichlorophenols, which contain pesticides. And it is directly linked to the intensification, the worsening, and the broadening spectrum of food allergies as we know them. We're going to take a short little breather. We'll be right back. We're going to talk with you this evening about food allergies and about water that you are drinking. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. We believe that through a healthy lifestyle and diet, everyone can achieve lasting health. Organic, truly all-natural, and non-GMO foods and vitamins are what we do best. We bring you quality products with no artificial preservatives or toxins. We also have the largest selection of gluten-free, dairy-free foods in the state. We don't try to be something we're not. We're just a neighborhood market with real total body wellness solutions, wholesome foods, and products that work. We stand behind our products with solid research and science, empowering customers through our extensive product literature and our knowledgeable associates. We've received numerous magazine awards and we're ranked #1 in holistic and organic health and beauty products. Learn more at goodhealthnaturalfood.com. Come see us in Quincy and Hanover. We're open 7 days a week and there's plenty of parking. So come see why we're different. Cutting-edge products and world-class customer care. Be sure to watch for our opening of our new Good Health Market in Quincy Center. Thanks for listening. Safe and happy holidays.
You know, when most people hear the word allergies, they think only of hay fever-like symptoms associated with airborne pollen, dust, and mold. But did you know that many experts estimate that between 60 and 80 million of us suffer from immune-related food allergies without even knowing it? Furthermore, food allergies often contribute to serious health problems such as autism, irritable bowel syndrome, ADD, headaches, and chronic ear infections. Now, there's an effective way to identify and eliminate both your food allergies and the troubling symptoms that they aggravate. Allotest Medical Labs at foodallergy.com offers a full complement of clinical, environmental, and food allergy testing to help you get to the root of your allergy problems. Allotest also provides you with a comprehensive rotation diet, lifestyle booklet, and a wallet card to help you live food allergy-free and stress-free. Do you wonder if you or your loved ones are among the 60 to 80 million food allergy sufferers in America? If so, log on to Allotest Medical Labs, foodallergy.com. Talk to your doctor about ordering a food allergy test from Allotest Medical Labs today. Foodallergy.com. Make sure the food you're eating isn't what's depleting you.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Food, Allotest Medical Labs, Santee Holistic Center, and Healthy Living Magazine.
Alrighty, welcome back. Hope things are going smoothly in your world, and hopefully you don't have a lot of food allergies, but unfortunately those numbers would indicate otherwise. An awful lot of us, unfortunately, are indeed suffering from some form of food allergy. Many do not even know that they are. Unfortunately, that is a sad part of the story, that a lot of folks who just associate the various troublesome symptoms that they experience and have perhaps even become accustomed to experiencing are directly correlated with food. And there's a piece that I wrote not too long ago, kind of an editorial piece of the tens of thousands of people that I've seen and worked with over the past 3 decades, many of whom have indeed suffered food allergy problems that they were not even aware of. There's actually a documentary that I helped to produce. It's on YouTube if ever you get a minute to look at it, and it's called Choosing to Live. Choosing to Live. It's a documentary. It's only 40 minutes. So say it's on YouTube. Should be on my YouTube network as well. I'm pretty sure it is. But it's easy to spot. It's easy to find. But on that particular piece, we did 6 different patients who were diagnosed with, 2 with cancer, 1 with MS, 1 with lupus, 1 with non-alcoholic cirrhosis, 1 with chronic and acute rheumatoid arthritis. Now, every one of these 6 people who were diagnosed with these various conditions, including the quote, incurable condition known as non-alcoholic cirrhosis, as well as 2 forms of advanced cancer, are perfectly fine, and they told their stories that they've beaten their diseases. And my story is very simply that we did it with food. And when you think in terms of somebody with being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and now being 21 years of symptom-free, there's something to be said there about food. So we tend to significantly play down, underestimate, or I guess live in the dark about the potential powers of food to become a potential healing agent or an agent of disease. But it is. I mean, it's a very powerful chemistry. There's a powerful exchange of chemical responses and reactions that take place whenever we do, in fact, eat. But we live in a culture that is, let's face it, it's a pharmaceutically adapted culture. It's a pill culture. So the way we tend to manage our disease is we get sick, something happens, we go to the doctor, we get a pill. That's kind of the way we work. But if I've learned anything in my corner of the world over the past 30 years, it's that chemistry is chemistry. And that the powers of our remarkable chemistries are absolutely remarkable. Our immune system's amazing. They need a lot of help. They do. They need a lot of help. And it's a sad thing to think that food can be counter to that food can actually deter, distract, and damage the efforts of our immune system. But that is the way it is. Food is not what it was designed to be. It's not what it was for your grandmother and grandfather. Your food is not your grandmother's food. I can promise you that. And in this case, neither is your water. So it's my contention that we need to make more of an effort in this country to better educate the public and to tell them the truth, that it's not all about pharmaceuticals, that it's really about the chemistry in your body and the way the chemical reactions take place whenever you and I eat the wrong things, and that there are ways to identify with what the right and the wrong things are for you, for me, because it's going to be different for everybody. We tend to live in a one-size-fits-all box, nice tidy box. We're kind of led to believe that, we go to the store, we shop for our foods, we go home and eat, and everybody's happy. It's happy ever after time. It doesn't quite work that simply. Unfortunately, one food could really disturb a given person, be perfectly fine for another. And this doesn't even take into account what we talked about on last week's show, the fact that indeed there are some real problems with food processing. We talked last week about genetic modification. And, when you genetically modify something, you change it forever. And you can conceivably alter the chemistry that it engages with forever as well. That's my opinion about it. When you genetically modify foods, which again, 73% of our foods are genetically modified, it's astounding. And 89% of the public doesn't even know it. So the quality of the food is 0.1. Food is no longer what you think what it used to be and what you think it is, what it should be. It's not. It affects the immune system in negative ways. The objective to really practicing good medicine in America begins with prevention. We got to get that message. If we really had an honest effort behind disease prevention, they wouldn't be allowing people to genetically modify food. There would not be pesticides in tap water. None of this would happen. As we all know, it comes down to the Benjamins. So when it comes to food allergies, the reason they're on the rise isn't just because there is unfortunately dichlorophenols in water now. Although we find out that with this particular news report that we're talking about this evening, that is the case. And again, in the event that you missed the header at the beginning of the show, Report on December 3rd, 2012 in Science News, Science Daily. Food allergies are on the rise, affecting millions. According to a recent report, the American Journal, the American College of Allergy and Asthma, dichlorphenol containing pesticides found in tap water could be largely to blame. So, indeed, there is some really funky chemistry going down the hatch here, but we're talking also about the quality of food, not just the quality of our water. There are two primary types of food allergy. There's four altogether, but there's two primary types of food allergy. Type 1 is immediate onset. It's immune globulin E. Again, we produce different immune cells. There are different types of immune reaction that we have to given foods. You know, a lot of folks know and have heard stories or read stories about people who have had anaphylactic shocks with foods like peanuts, for example. A lot of kids are not allowed to bring peanut snacks into school because there are those kids in school that are so sensitive they can't even withstand the wafting of those fragrances. So that's a classic case of immune globulin E, severely sensitive, high reactive, type 1. So type 1 is the worst. Now the good news is those occur in less than 5% of the population, again mostly kids. Those are called immediate onset IgE-mediated food reactions or food allergies. The most common, however, are type 3. Type 3 are the most common. It's estimated that there are 60 to 80 million Americans. You may have just heard the last spot that we ran for Allertest Medical Labs, our good friends at Allertest, where I actually did that recording and mentioned the fact in that commercial, in the body of that commercial, that there are 60 to 80 million Americans. That's just a ridiculous number, suffering from delayed onset type 3 food allergies. Now listen, this is pretty important stuff. A lot of folks say, no, I don't have any food allergies because I drink milk and I eat peanut butter and I don't notice myself getting sick. I don't get stomach aches. I don't get headaches. You may not know that you have allergies because if you have an immune globulin G reaction instead of the immune globulin 1, which is really severe again, and they're immediate, as we said, immune globulin 1 are the type 1s are immediately reactive. Again, those are the people that eat something and they get sick right away, get them off to the hospital, or at least they get a stomach ache or a headache or problem with their digestive tract or some such thing. Those are immediate, but they only make up 5% of the population. So 5% of food allergies are the ones you're going to notice right after eating. 5% only. Forget it. Type 3, which is the most common, affecting 60 to 80 million Americans, has up to a 5-day delay. So, heavens to Murgatroyd. You could eat something right now, feel fine for 4 days, have a passing mood shift, a mild headache, a case of insomnia, a little bloating. 5 days from now, how in the name of God are you going to trace that back to whatever you ate on Sunday night? Not going to happen. Impossible. So the point I'm trying to make here is there's some real shifty interactions here, biochemical interactions that take place that are more than we can handle in terms of trying to determine or diagnose for ourselves. Impossible. So type 3 are delayed reactions. Delayed reactions make up what takes place for 60 to 80 million Americans who are sensitive to foods. So food is no longer what it used to be. Forget about what it looks like it is during those commercials. Those Happy Day commercials on television make food look like it's perfectly safe and everybody can eat everything. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. There's 80 million people that have delayed food reactions, and about 25% of them don't even know it. That's millions and millions of Americans. And now we can tack on this new study from Science News, Science Daily Report. Dichlorophenols containing pesticides found in our tap water. It's used to chlorinate our tap water. Well, first of all, chlorine isn't even good. It's a gas. Chlorine is a toxic gas. So it's not even the worst thing in our tap water. We used to think chlorine was the worst thing in our tap water, and we used to fight to get the chlorination out of the tap water. Now we're finding that dichlorophenols, which contain pesticides, are being put in our chlorination system, or are being found, rather, in our chlorination systems. Wow. Amazing. Truly amazing. So this new study finds that high levels of dichlorophenols used in pesticides to chlorinate water were found in the human body, directly associated with the increase in food allergies, and are now being suspected as a large reason why food allergies have increased by 18% per decade. Just think, over the next 20 years, there will have been about a 60% increase in food allergies. 60%, that's all. Not a big deal. We're headed toward eating astronaut food pretty soon. Hey, it looks good. It looks good. It tastes great. Looks good. Tastes great. That's about all you can say about it. Looks good. Tastes great. Get it off your plate. There you go, I'm a poet. Anyway, we're talking about this disturbing issue, this Science News Daily Report about this disturbing study that just found that food allergies are on the high increase, 18% per decade, because of dichlorophenols. And we're going to talk more about that. But I want to take a minute or two to just kind of go over that some of the symptomatologies associated with food allergies. A lot of folks are not even familiar with what they are. Again, 25% of the 80 million people, that's a lot of people. I mean, what is it, 15 million? I'm not good with the math thing, but we're still talking about tens of millions of people that don't even know they're having these experiences. But these are just the common symptomatologies associated with immune globulin E food allergies and immune globulin G food allergies, just type 1 and type 3. For digestive symptoms, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, bloating, belching, gas, stomach pain, cramps, and heartburn. That's just the digestive tract. Emotions, mood swings, anxiety, fear, nervousness, anger, irritability, aggressive behavior, depression, binge eating, binge drinking, food cravings. We've only covered 2 vectors here. How about energy? Fatigue, sluggishness, lethargy, drowsiness, lack of energy, apathy, hyperactivity, restlessness. And of course, where there's restlessness, there's insomnia, and on and on and on it goes. Eye, ear, nose, throat, watery eyes, itchy eyes, blurred vision, sneezing attacks, ear infections, hearing loss, sinus problems, dark circles under eyes, excessive mucus formation, stuffy nose, postnasal drip, lightheadedness, heart and lungs, irregular heartbeat, rapid heartbeat, chest pain, congestion, asthma, bronchitis, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing. Now, just for an example, remember I talked earlier about the documentary that I did called Choosing to Live on YouTube? It's really well worth a peek, by the way. But it really sort of points out the fact that there's an awful lot of people suffering from an awful lot of things that are diagnosed conditions, diseases, formal conditions, formal health conditions, formal diseases that are being professionally and medically diagnosed, that when people manage the food problem, stop happening. So do we need to rethink disease as we think we know it? How about in this particular case right here? Heart and lung symptoms associated with food allergies. Rapid heartbeat, irregular heartbeat. How many people are going to go to the doctor tomorrow with diagnosed with irregular heartbeat, tachycardia, bradycardia, etc.? They're going to be put on medication to regulate their heartbeat. And not a word will ever be discussed about food. What did you eat last night, Mrs. Smith? Do you have any food allergies? Have you been diagnosed? Imagine if your physician were to send that particular patient to Allergies medical labs to be food allergy tested. And imagine if they stopped eating the wheat that they didn't know they were allergic to, or the dairy, or the soy, or the peanuts, and their heartbeat became regular again. There's a concept. Let's go on. Mind, poor memory, concentration, lethargy, speech problems, learning disabilities. How many kids are being put on Ritalin that have formally diagnosed with learning disabilities that in fact have wheat allergies? I've worked with hundreds of those kids. You get them off the gluten, you get them off the dairy, whatever it is that they might be sensitive to, the learning disabilities clear up. They go away. How many folks have poor memory problems, concentration problems, cognitive recall? Where did I put those damn car keys? I mean, there's probably this voice in unison across, from coast to coast across America every morning at about 7 o'clock. Where are those damn car keys? I'll guarantee it. There are millions. There are tens of millions. How many of these frustrating? It's not really funny. There's an awful lot of serious memory and concentration issues. But how many of them are indeed correlated with the chemical imbalances that are generated by food intolerances? But do we seem to care? Have we elevated our consciousness? Have we evolved to that level of healthcare awareness? Not even close. Could we? Do we have the tools? Do we have the power and the ability? Of course we do. But there's no reason and rationale to do it because pharmaceutical America doesn't want us to do that. Other symptoms: muscles and joints, general weakness, muscle joint aches, pains, arthritis, stiffness, skin, hives, rashes, dry skin, dandruff, excessive sweating, acne, hair loss, irritation around the eyes, throat and mouth, coughing, sore throat, hoarseness, swelling, pain, coating in the tongue, especially upon waking, sores on the tongue, gums, and lips. Other miscellaneous symptoms associated with food allergies: excessive weight, dizziness, water retention, insomnia, headaches, frequent urination, and a worsening of premenstrual syndrome. And on and on and on it goes. The bottom line of it is foods produce chemistries. Your body is a chemical unit. When you interact and you bring chemistry into this chemical system of ours, you're going to get chemical reactions. They're not always fun and friendly. So indeed, how many of those chemical reactions that are negative enough to draw a diagnosis, could be thought of in terms of, hey, let's start by looking at the patient's relationship with food chemistry. It's common sense. Let's start by no longer putting dichlorophenols in our drinking water. Now, that didn't take Einsteinian logic. Let's start by trying to find a way to keep the pesticides off the plate. Let's keep the pesticides out of the drinking waters. I mean, come on, folks. We could do a lot better. Hey, we're going to take a short break. You're listening to The Natural Health Show. My name is Mark Mincola. Of course, you're on 95.9 FM WATD. We're going to be right back. Stay right there. Hi, this is Mark Mincola. You know, over the past decade, The Natural Health Show has attracted many thousands of avid listeners. I'd like to extend an open invitation to all potential new sponsors to join our Natural Health Show family. If you own a Heart Smart lighter fare or seafood restaurant, a fitness or day spa, or if you're an allied health professional or coach, the Natural Health Show is the perfect place for you to make the direct connection with your demographic target. If you really want to zero in and aim the message of your vision directly at those who want to most know about it, join the Natural Health Show family of sponsors. I promise you'll be glad you did. For information, call Candida at 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728. With the burgeoning growth of the Natural Health Show, now's the perfect time to share in that growth together.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Food, Allergies Medical Labs, Santee Holistic Center, and Healthy Living Magazine.
Hey, welcome back. Looking good. Hopefully you're not racing about this time of year, stressing yourself out, taking precious years off your life, because it's just never really worth it. It's something you got to take in stride, keep the stress levels down, and get plenty of rest. This time of year, people get pretty run down and pretty used up, and it's, of course, flu season, cold and flu season, and those little bugs just waiting for the moment for you to kind of rest on your laurels and lose your immune integrity. Bang, right around the corner, they're going to whack you. So take good care of yourself. Don't get too caught up in the craziness out there. Have fun doing it, or don't do it at all. Do it through the internet, that's all. All right, anyway, we're talking this evening about your foods, in terms of your relationship with foods, or food allergies. What kind of symptoms are being triggered by food allergies, and what kind of rationale and reasoning is there behind the dramatic increase in food allergies? I mean, I hear that question so many times. So many folks are always asking, why are there so many of us suffering from food intolerances? How could this be so bad? And when people come in my office, in many cases, they don't even know it. I mean, I've dealt with literally tens of thousands of people over the years, and it's like their first conversation of such, because in none of their travels, no one has ever commented on the possibility that, well, you could be feeling lousy because of what you're putting in your body here, that your foods could be working against you. Really? Could that be true? Is that possible? Geez, I never thought so. It's a revolutionary concept to so many of us. It's been something that we've been working with for 3 decades, however, and again, something that I'm a real adamant practitioner about. But again, this is a disturbing story. If anybody wants to check this out, it's in Science Daily, which is a great site, and it's in the Science News section. December 3rd of this month, so it's a fairly new report. Food allergies are on the rise. That's the real key to the article. But dichlorphenol containing pesticides linked to food allergies, study finds. And again, the key here is this particular new study finds that high levels of these dichlorphenols, which is a chemical used in pesticides and to chlorinate tap water, when found in the human body, are directly correlated with a higher increase in food allergy sensitivities. And again, the article goes on to talk about the Center for Disease Control and Prevention report increasing food allergies are indeed up 18% per decade, because they took a look between 1997 and 2007 and indeed did find that. So we really need to pay closer attention here to our food quality and our relationship with foods. We mentioned earlier, too, that the primary food intolerances, the most common, are dairy products, eggs, peanuts, wheat, tree nuts, soy products, fish, and shellfish. And one of the other things I wanted to mention here, too, is when folks think in terms of wheat is changing each year. The wheat that you're eating right now, if indeed you're eating wheat, is not the same as you had last year or the year before. And it'll be different next year. Now, why am I saying that? It's pretty simple. They are glutenizing the wheat at higher levels in food processing. So in other words, when they process wheat, they're breaking it down more and more and more, because there's a process actually called glutenization that actually takes wheat and makes it sort of more chewy. They've done their study, their research is on it, is that it's more addictive. So when you bite into that bagel and you have to tear it like a piece of raw flesh, that sort of heavy, thick, stick to your ribs kind of texture and density. Well, they have determined that we are more addicted to it when it's like that. So indeed, they want to make sure we're happy with our addictions, because we'll keep lining up for more bagels. that's exactly what we're doing. So they are glutenizing the wheat more and more and more. In fact, the study that I saw says that over the past 75 years that the wheat products have been glutenized by 90%. The glutenization process has increased by 90% over the past 75 years. So when you think about the kind of wheat you might have eaten as a kid, and you might have said to yourself, geez, there weren't quite as many people sensitive to wheat or food allergies in general when I was a kid. I don't remember a lot of that. Well, there's a reason you don't remember a lot of that. It's because, well, in part, we weren't quite as vigilant and as aware. But also, the wheat wasn't quite as glutenized as it is today. So our wheat is so profoundly processed, pulverized for purposes of creating a more addictive product. And successful they indeed are at manufacturing just that very thing. A highly chewable, dense, gooey, sticky, toxic food that we're drawn to and that we have a hard time fighting off. You've probably had the occasion to cook some pasta, leave it on the stove overnight. The leftovers are just sort of in the pot still. And the next day it looks like wallpaper paste. That's glutenization. And that's exactly what it does in your intestines. It swells, as do your intestines. It makes you bloat because it doesn't pass, it doesn't move through very easily. It's very dense, it's very heavy. And it has these properties that make it very difficult to digest and break down. So all the emphasis with food is with what happens before we eat it. All the emphasis, all the expenditure, all the research, all the money, all the development, all the focus, all the attention is all about the food on the plate. How good does it look? How appealing is it? How addictive is it? But all the research and all the emphasis has virtually nothing to do with what happens once it's off the plate. Out of sight, out of mind, and into the hospital. That's kind of the way it works. So we need to be really thinking in terms of protecting ourselves and our family. Okay, food needs to be thought of as potentially problematic and contributing to whatever ails you. Now, again, we're talking about direct corollaries here. We're talking about immune antibodies attaching to mast cells like IgE antibodies and type 1 allergies. They bind directly to the food as it enters the bloodstream. And it forms very, very different kind of immune complexes. So it's really an altered chemistry. It's sort of a mutated chemistry once it's become inflammatory. And that's exactly what foods do when they don't digest. They become inflammatory agents. Now, we're all concerned with inflammation because we now know that inflammation makes up 72% of all disease. 72%. So inflammation is directly correlated with 72% of all disease. Inflammation is disease. Name a disease. Just think of one. Cancer, yes, it's inflammatory. Heart disease, yes, it's inflammatory. Lupus, yes, it's inflammatory. Rheumatoid arthritis, and on and on and on. 72% of all disease is inflammatory. So when foods go into your mouth that you are not recognizing at an immune level, they become inflammatory. One side of the immune globulin E antibody will recognize the food allergy and it will bind to the allergenic food. It'll tenaciously bind to the food. That's the inflammatory beginning. So when that immune globulin mediation attaches to that food, the cells of that food, the immune cells are packed with histamines. Now, you know what a histamine is because you remember those commercials when everybody's sniffing and sneezing in the springtime from all the pollen? And and everybody's trying to sell you antihistamines. Well, that's because histamines are very inflammatory. So the other side of your immune antibody is attached to a specialized immune cell that is packed with histamines. They're called mast cells. So these mast cells release a ton of histamines that don't just make you sneeze and make your eyes water. Histamines can create all kinds of symptoms, such as we've named earlier. So virtually all those symptoms we went through earlier are triggered by your own mast cells. It's like saying your body's in a state of total confusion. If it doesn't recognize, I always say, recognition is the beginning of food intolerances, food allergies, because we produce what are called identification immune cells. So you put something in the body, your body says, is it friendly? You have an immune army trying to protect you every day of your life. You have trillions of cells in there that are trying to identify with everything that comes in. That is your homeland defense system. So if you have a pollen come in, a virus come in, a bacteria come in, or a food come in, they have to qualify it. It has to make it through Checkpoint Charlie. Okay, so Checkpoint Charlie has to say, okay, it looks safe, thumbs up, bring them in, or thumbs down, get them out of here, they're a problem. The only third option is, we're confused. We can't figure it out. Is this thing that they call a food? Is this thing that they call wheat? Is this thing that they call corn or dairy or shellfish? Is it safe? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Can you figure it out? No, I can't. So it causes immune confusion. So your immune cells are primed for action. And sometimes they have a very difficult time identifying safe versus unsafe, friendly versus unfriendly. And if they can't, it can become a very severe problem. Because they react, like we said, with these mast cells packed with histamines. Again, if it's a negative reaction or if it's a confused reaction, you're going to get the same response. Inflammation. What does inflammation do? Nothing much. Just causes 72% of all disease. One of these days, we're going to make the connection that food is definitely correlated directly with your immune system. One of these days, we're going to make the connection that food is representative of a chemistry that is either friendly or unfriendly, and if it's unfriendly, it can be a major contributor toward your immune inflammation and whatever conditions or diseases you ultimately have to contend with. Which is simply why, when you go to my video, Choosing to Live on YouTube, and you see that there are people who are diagnosed with severe illnesses, who I tested for food allergies, we started off their recovery process by subtracting whatever stressful foods their immune systems had to contend with. All their unidentified food allergens were taken off their diet. We started off by giving their immune systems a break so that they could fight the good fight without the distraction. Increasing immune efficiency is really what food allergy support is all about. And again, according to this particular article, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Because your poor immune system has to now contend with dichlorophenols in your chlorinated water. And by the way, a lot of the foods that you have that are not organic, because a lot of you, I could see you out there, you're still not eating organic produce. You know better than that. You listen to this program. It's time to go organic. USDA organic means 100%. And that's safe. But if you're eating non-organic produce, you're getting pesticide residues. I don't care how well you rinse your foods. And in fact, when we come back from this next break, I'm going to tell you a safer way to get the pesticides off your foods. Simple, safe way to do that. I've written about it in a number of different my books in the past, but I'll give you the tip after the next break. But you're jeopardizing yourself here with food allergies by taking in double hits of dichlorophenols, because you're getting exposed to dichlorophenols through both pesticides and chlorinated water. All right? So if you're at least consuming organic produce, you'll cut down on the dichlorophenol consumption. But one of the main reasons, indeed, for our greater levels of immune sensitivity and the higher increase of sensitivities to foods and food allergenesis, which again is on the rise, 18% per decade, and dichlorophenols, surprise, this toxic chemical that's finding its way into our lives, because as DuPont used to say in their DuPont commercial years ago, because without chemicals, life itself would be impossible. Remember that one? Without chemicals, life itself would be impossible. It makes it sound okay. Yeah, you can toxically poison my life. That's okay. That rationale sounds like it works. Not. So you want to make sure you're taking organic produce, as we said last week, because we talked last week about the genetic modification problem, which is skyrocketing out of control because nobody even knows about it. CBS did their poll, and they found that 89% of Americans didn't even know that their foods are genetically modified. Meanwhile, they're up to about 73% of all the foods you're eating. A lot of folks think in terms of cleaning up the quality of their foods, like a lot of those companies that have a very clean product, but then they have some kind of corn product inside. And again, most corn products, almost 80% of corn is genetically modified. So you can have organic poultry. You raise them very carefully. You don't give them any pesticides, and you do all the right things. But you give them corn feed. And corn feed, unfortunately, is highly likely, to be genetically modified, because so much corn is. All right, we got to pay a few bills here. My name is Mark Mincola. You're listening to the one and only Natural Health Show, heard only on 95.9 FM WATD. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Are you one of the 20 million Americans suffering from neuropathy, shingles, or chronic nerve pain? In the last 3 years, many people have discovered excellent and affordable treatment for diabetic, post-chemotherapy, and other types of neuropathy and chronic pain. Dr. John Hayes, chiropractic physician since 1981 on Route 53 in Norwell, has had such astounding results with his unique neuropathy program that he's now teaching his remarkable system to doctors around the country. His most recent book, entitled Beating Neuropathy, remains a bestseller. In fact, Dr. John Hayes is the world's exclusive educator and trainer for Rebuilder Medical Technologies. Call Dr. Hayes' office 24/7 to schedule a free neuropathy analysis. Call 781-659-7989. That's 781-659-7989. Call now while free neuropathy analysis slots are open.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Food, Allergies Medical Labs, Santee Holistic Center, and Healthy Living Magazine.
I do want to give a shout out to Dr. John Hayes as well. He's done an exceptional job with the 7:30 slot. If you've not listened to Beating Neuropathy, which is the program that's right before ours, again, Dr. John Hayes has really developed the show beautifully well. He's done a great job with it, and it's real informative. He's got a great passion and great wit, and it's a superb program. So if you've not listened, I invite you to listen to Dr. John Hayes 7:30. It's kind of a nice back-to-back thing on a Sunday night, so complimentary program. Enjoy listening myself here when I'm in studio getting ready to do my show, but he's done a great job. Also, I wanted to also point out here that one of our great sponsors is Allergies Medical Labs. And they've done a great job working with food allergies, both immune globulin G and E, at a blood level to serum level. I do a lot of muscle testing for food allergies, have for years, and have had great success with it, but they are the guys to see if you want to do blood work or want to have your family physician check you or the kids or anybody in the family for food allergies at a serum level, blood level. There's a terrific website they have. It's foodallergy.com, not plural, foodallergy.com. That's Allergies Medical Labs. They are conveniently located in Rockland, and they do a great job. If you want to give a call over there, you just talk to Ronnie and tell her that I sent you over there. But you want to get checked out, I would recommend the IgG 100 food test. There's 100 foods that they check you for, and the IgG is a very invaluable check. That's a type 3 food allergy, and as we said, there's 60 to 80 million Americans with IgG food allergies. They do type 1 as well, which is the IgE test. Remember, that's only representative of 5% of all food allergies, so it's less of a likelihood that there's going to be a problem there. And the other thing I'd say about that is if you had an IgE type 1, you'd probably know it well by now because they are severe. They're immediate, they're not delayed. Type 1s are immediate, not delayed. Type 1s are also very severe, among the most severe food allergies. So you probably already know that. Harder to identify are the type 3s. So if you do go to foodallergy.com and set something up, which is always a wonderful idea, you want to do the IgG test. And again, they have 100 foods that they check you for, common foods. Great job they do on that. And we have Veronica come in here once a year. She usually comes in the springtime. And they do a great job when they come on the air. We get a lot of calls. People love that stuff. And they should. So check them out. Also, I mentioned a couple different times my YouTube network and my YouTube film that I produced called Choosing to Live, which is easy to find on YouTube, but you can check that out. If you've not looked at my website, I'm kind of surprised. And maybe you just tuned in for the first time, but my website is maxhealing.com. It's one word, Max Healing. And that'll lead you to my Facebook pages, Twitter pages, and all that stuff. So there's a lot of social networking going on there, and you can actually check that out. So, you can tap into some of my feelings about food allergenesis. There's a lot of, if you go all through the internet, you can easily Google Mark Mincola food allergy. The best way to do it actually is Mark Mincola muscle testing. If you check out Mark Mincola muscle testing, you'll see that there's a lot of exposés that I've done on Fox Television, that I've done my own productions on, and then I've done a lot of learning videos on, all that stuff as well. And I'm writing a new book about all that stuff right now called Whole Health. And that's going to be released next year. That's just about a year from now. It's going to be, it's on Penguin Books, and it's due on the 15th of February, and I've been working morning, noon, and night on it to make sure I'm on time. But it talks a great deal about my system, about food allergy testing and what I've done to identify with food allergens. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a number of different successful approaches to testing for food allergies, which is really important in my opinion. That's the real crux of the program tonight. You need to know what you're eating. You need to identify it as friendly or unfriendly. That's the bottom line. All right, I was going to, as promised, take you through this pesticide rinse. Grab a pen and paper. Ready to take dictation. Come on, get yourself ready. I'll give you another second or two to grab that pen and paper. Because a lot of folks are still not eating organic. Shame on you. But if you're not, you can't afford it, can't be bothered with it, I understand. We got a little helpful hint to bail you out. Pretty simple. All right, you can purchase those little spray bottles, the kind that you keep the Christmas tree hydrated with, down at the hardware store. They're little pint-sized spritzer bottles. Just fill them up with tap water. Yes, I said tap water. And yes, I do mean the tap water that has dichlorophenols in it to help chlorinate your water. But it'll be okay for this. Don't worry about it. But you're going to basically take water and put it in these little spritzer bottles. And then in each spritzer bottle, you're going to take a tablespoon of cider vinegar in one and a tablespoon of baking soda in the other one. And you're going to basically stir those, shake those things up. When you get your produce home, you put it in a colander, just as if you're rinsing your pasta through it. Put it in the sink. Spritz it with the cider vinegar water solution first. Let it sit there for a minute. Then you spritz it with the baking soda and water solution second. And you rinse it with tap water. Just rinse it off real good. And that'll take most of the pesticide residues and all that negative stuff that it might have absorbed, insecticides and all that business. Neutralize it. It's like a polarizing effect. When you go from extreme acid to extreme alkaline, you'll shock those chemical agents out of it and off of it. Works very, very nicely. I know Good Health Natural Foods does have the organic spritzes as well, the cleansing spritzes for your produce, but the one that I mentioned is really, really effective. It gets all that crud off of there and cleans up your produce if you don't want to do organic. But again, I suggest you think about going organic. That's the way to go. All right. Once again, anybody wants to check out any of this information, you can check out our website at maxhealing.com. The shows are usually up fairly soon. I'm sorry that the last one didn't get put up yet. It's my fault. We'll get both of those. We'll get this one and the last show up fairly soon this week. But there's a whole library of programs both on our YouTube network as well as our website at www.maxhealing.com. Just one word, maxhealing.com. And you can actually order my books. I have a bunch of books there that you can order right off that website. Thanks to Tim McKinney, always an able producer here. Thanks to Good Health Natural Foods for making this show possible. They've been our flagship sponsor from day one. And a special thanks to Ed Perry for being the big daddy at WATD and making all this great stuff possible. And thank you, of course, to you for being a tried and true listener each and every Sunday night. And we welcome you back next Sunday night at 8. This is Mark Mincola reminding you all, please be wise, be aware, be well, make it a healthy week. Good night.